world-class GBS is about creating that value, incremental revenue, incremental margin, or incremental cash. Cost savings is a finite opportunity. The infinity lies in unlocking the untapped value opportunity that sits within the business. This is no longer about centralization. It's about bringing together and driving an end-to-end experience. I'm Sumit Mitra, CEO of Tesco Business Solutions. Look, the concept of GBS has been around for many years, probably about 25 to 30 years. If we look presently around the world, we live in a world of perma-crisis, where we are, every business actually hopping from one crisis to another. The GBS concept and the GBS model should be able to adopt and adapt to the changes that's happening around the business and add real value by understanding the business context. To me, it's about having an AI-led digital core, a service management framework, agility, ability to and appetite to manage risk, and unlock untapped value. If you think about 10, 15 years ago, GBS was about labor arbitrage. It was about centralization, consolidating pieces of work, which was becoming too expensive to do in the headquarters. The world has moved on since then. This is no longer about centralization. It's about bringing together and driving an end-to-end experience, whether it's colleague experience, whether it's supplier experience, whether it's customer experience. How do you bring all these processes that sit within GBS together to really unlock the experience for the business? Look, there are many good GBSs about. The key focus in most of the GBS is about cost savings. But I call it cost savings is a finite opportunity. The infinity lies in unlocking the untapped value opportunity that sits within the business. A true GBS, a world-class GBS, is about creating that value, whether it's incremental revenue, incremental margin, or incremental cash. That's key for unlocking and becoming the world's best GBS. Look, traditionally, GBS has been about efficiency. How do you bring in robotics and other technology to drive efficiency? But that's a given. It's about creating value, as I always talk about. But how do you create that value? First of all, it's very important to understand the business context. And within your organization, you already have the content. You have great commercial experts, you have excellent finance individuals. But what you need is for them to understand the business context. Once you understand the business context, it's then you have a seat on the table. And once you have that seat on the table, you're able to hear the business problems. Where the world is becoming is about solving really complex business problems. And it's not about finance problem or people services problem or analytics problem. How do you bring together all the functions and jointly work together to solve very, very complex horizontal problems that really unlocks value for the business? So look, I always talk about the bullet train. If technology is the bullet train that will take us one place to another in terms of unlocking, I feel that the bullet train can't run unless you build the tracks. And the two tracks for the business is one, it's processes. Ensure that you have a lean process, you do things simply in a centralized way. And second is the culture of the business. The culture of the business is about, are you ready to adopt and adapt to change that's happening around you? And do you have the ability to drive change at a pace that organization can consume? So these are the three key ingredients for the business. The fourth thing I always talk about is our success is through our colleagues. And a leader's job is to create an environment of success. So therefore, leadership and our colleagues play a very critical role in terms of unlocking this value. I always say that success is never by chance. It requires meticulous planning. It requires a lot of hard graft. I also say the harder you work, the luckier you get. But it's underpinned by a culture of can-do attitude, a possibility mindset, which I always talk about. Possibility mindset is looking at a problem and saying, yes, it's solvable. If I bring the power of Tesco, if I bring the power of GBS across finance, across people services, across our customer experience teams, across data science analytics, across technology, we are able to unlock that value. To me, that possibility mindset, a culture of continuous improvement, which is not top-down but bottom-up, and giving our colleagues the tools and techniques to drive that bottom-up continuous improvement culture is key to the success. For a GBS to create the right culture, what's important is a clear vision and a strategy. And that strategy is both top-down and bottom-up. It's really important to set a vision. Now, the other side of the coin is about how do you create a culture of continuous improvement, which connects to the purpose of Tesco. A little better every day. The continuous improvement culture is absolutely bottom-up. What we do here at Tesco is we give the right tools and techniques for our colleagues, whether it's Kaizen, whether it's Lean. How do we give them the right techniques to make sure that every day, every piece of work they do, they drive that culture of continuous improvement? And as it gets bigger, as it becomes across the hubs, you have your transformation team to drive the end-to-end transformation. That's a culture of driving continuous improvement. Strategy is about making sure that you're heading in the right direction. Continuous improvement is the little step every day that helps you get to your strategy.